Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. We are on my channel this week. My name is Eric Estep. I'm joined by our usual podcast crew. We got Darian Gilliam. Wait, wrong side. Darian Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. Jarrett Lundberg, the Iceberg. Down here, you got Daniel Baldwin, Danny B Talks. We're joined this week by fellow YouTuber, one of our good friends, S1apSh0es. Thanks for being on today. Actually, as I have you muted S1apSh0es. Say that again.
What's up, everybody?
Awesome. We can hear you. Everyone's loud and clear. Beautiful. And this week we are joined by a very special guest as well. We have NASCAR Hall of Famer Mark Martin in the house. Thanks for being here, man. How are you?
Great, man. Great to be here with you guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I have to jump right in and start with, what's it like to be a part of the NASCAR Hall of Fame? Next year's nominees just got announced, but what was it like when you first found out back in, I guess, 2016 or 17? When did you actually get the call that you were going to be in the Hall of Fame? What was that like?
So it was in 2016, and short story, the first year I was eligible, I didn't get picked, and I didn't expect to get picked the second year to go in. So on that Wednesday of the announcement, I got in my motor coach that morning, and I drove from Arkansas to Indy for the Indy 500. And I got the motor coach all parked and everything, and I was outside washing the bugs off the front when my phone blew up. And so it was not something I really expected. I wouldn't have voted that way myself. It was a little bit weird. I felt a little awkward, especially during the induction, because I looked up at all the flags along the wall of especially when I went in. I mean, I would think I was like, in the first 40 or something. It was like, dude, my heroes, the people that built the sport. I wasn't one of those guys. I didn't build the sport. They built the sport and paved the way for guys like me to get to do what I did. And so I was almost a little bit embarrassed at the time, but certainly the crown jewel of my career. I never really hit the super home run. I didn't win a Daytona 500, and I didn't win a championship. But I put a lot of emphasis on winning races, and that was the only thing that kept me in the sport. Winning was the glue that would hold a winning race team together and get you sponsors so that you could stay. But I know a lot of you don't know, but I made a run at NASCAR when I was really, really young, and was hot as a firecracker. And I wound up stumbling and falling and losing everything my entire career. And I had to go back home and start all over again. And so, I really, I recognize what an incredible honor it is to be able to race fast cars that have a chance to win. And I was always grateful for that opportunity.
So who was next? Was it Slap?
Oh, okay.
We all had questions
we were
prepared.
talking a little bit earlier about the current rules package and everything, and you actually have some experience with a low horsepower, high downforce package. You're 5-time IROC champion. I believe they ran a 450 horsepower engine back there. They of course had that massive rear wing that slowed those cars down. When they raced at Atlanta and Michigan, it looked like a plate race. Do you think there's anything from the old IROC package that NASCAR could take from that and like transfer that over into the current Cup cars and make the show better?
Oh gosh, the IROC cars there was a necessity to make them a little bit easier to drive, better handling, because you brought guys in that didn't do what we did. It wasn't fair. I mean, let's face it. IROC was cool, but it wasn't fair.
It was all oval tracks.
Your three main competition were the other three NASCAR drivers, and really Al Unser Jr. Al Unser Jr. was just as good of a race car driver as Dale Earnhardt or Kyle Busch is today. He was unbelievable. He would fly in from an IndyCar race and slip into one of those cars and run the wheels off of it. Race Earnhardt or myself or Rusty boss or whoever, just like that, with just virtually no practice, no nothing. He was incredible. So he was always a force to reckon with. But for the other guys, they came there and they practiced all week. But even the IndyCar drivers, and some of them were really good and did a good job and won races, won some IROC races, but it still wasn't like what my vision of cup racing is. It should be the hardest vehicle to drive in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
I agree.
And if that takes a little bit away from the show, that's okay. I don't want anybody to be able to I don't want just anybody to be able to strap into one of those cars and go out and qualify it wide open. Mm-hmm. Because that means I'm not exaggerating. I used to say this at Daytona or Talladega. My mother could qualify the same speed as me. And I don't like seeing that at other places. Like I was super excited about it, Charlotte, because they were going to have qualifying there with no practice. And boy, I was so excited. That would be right in my wheelhouse. And then I realized they run wide open now. It ain't hard. Now, it's a different skill set, and I acknowledge the skill set 100%. Racing those cars at Daytona and Talladega, there were some guys that were just way better than others. And some guys only had that skill set, and then some guys had both. Like you had Earnhardt that could win there, outdrive you there, and go to a short track and outdrive you there too. But then you had some guys that were spectacular on restrictor plate races that weren't spectacular at handling racetracks, and vice versa. I acknowledge that these cars today are easier to drive. You don't see them wrecking these cars like they used to. They don't lose control. Man, when they went to Sonoma last year and went back on the boot, whatever you call that thing, a carousel, we used to wreck a car every practice there. Every practice, at least one. And I said, oh, man, this is going to be exciting, man. They didn't have a wreck all weekend in the carousel. and I asked Harvick, I said, what was the deal, Kevin? And he says, man, you can't hardly wreck these cars anymore. They have so much side force and so much downforce that you get out of the groove, but you don't lose control. I understand that we need to have a great show. I'm a fan. I want to see a great show. But I think the cars need to be hard to drive. They need to be low downforce. But, the fans say otherwise, or the loudest part of the fans say otherwise. I know a lot of people agree with me, but most of them aren't as vocal as the fans that say they want to be entertained and they want to see side-by-side action. I like seeing side-by-side action, but if I don't like to see cars just hung side by side. I want to see them about to wreck. The race, I think it was Chicago, where Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson raced on the last lap.
Yeah.
That was sled job.
The low downforce, supposed to be no good racing.
That
was the most phenomenal race in the world I ever saw, just about. With those two guys slipping and sliding and manhandling those race cars. And that's what that was always my vision of cup racing, was the hardest cars to drive in the world.
But yet they say that the very next year they had a very similar finish with Bowman and Larson again.
Yeah, and that was wasn't that with the with the high downforce?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see good racing, and we've seen some good racing, and that package for me works best where handling still comes back into the picture. In other words, I feel like you could get away with the horsepower that they have now if the car slipped and slide a little bit. I mean, just this past weekend was a good example. We had a whale of a race in the Xfinity race. In the week, just the low downforce cars and seeing the cars slipping and sliding and seeing guys manhandle the cars is more exciting to me than seeing two cars running side by side, running wide open. However, I'm a big fan of racing. I think we've seen great racing this year. everywhere we've seen them race. I've enjoyed the racing, and I think it's great. I would like to see the cars with less downforce, but that's just me.
I like how, that you mentioned the anniversary of that Chicagoland finish, or that you mentioned it, because it's actually today, I think, is the 2-year anniversary of that. I just remember just because I was lucky enough to be there and see it in person. But I wanted to kind of build off what you were talking about. Like, what are your overall kind of thoughts on today's NASCAR? What are they doing really good, and what can they improve on and do better on?
Oh wow, that's a whole can of worms. It's I don't have a lot of criticism for what they're doing or how their rules packages are, because they're trying to respond to the fans' request. And the thing that we have to remember, and you guys know this because you're younger than I am, but the thing that all of us have to remember is that at the end of the day, we have to provide a show for the fans. And that is paramount. I mean, it just really is. And so most of the rules things they've done over the years that I hear a lot of people bellyache about, I'm actually pretty good with. I'm good with the point system. I like the playoffs. I like the elimination. It adds stuff to me. Mm. I hear a lot of people complain about the segments. Here's how they got to that. Back before there was a race, back right before Casey Kane won his first race. He was leading at Dover, and I was running second.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Okay. Up until that point, NASCAR didn't throw a caution for anything. Stuff could be laying on the racetrack. They just didn't throw cautions very often, unless it was really dangerous. Some people were saying there was oil on the racetrack. I never felt it, never saw it. Casey goes in the corner, leading the race, backs her in the fence. There must have been something there, And after that, they started throwing cautions whenever anybody said anything. Mm. And then they just started throwing cautions for show. If the show got boring, if they needed a wild restart, whatever, and they got to throw in NASCAR, I'm telling you, they got to throw in a lot of bogus cautions. Mm. And I hated that.
I remember when all that started happening.
Yeah, it was bad.
I remember when they tried that caution clock in a truck series. That was a good idea.
Yeah, that caution clock, I wasn't for that either. So we see these. We see what they're doing now, and we see some good racing coming down to the finishes of those. And I'm not opposed to them. There's sometimes that they're a little too short. Like if you go to a road course. It's a little awkward when you throw them into a road course, and it actually breaks up the strategy that already comes into play quite a bit on a road course. But anyway, I'm good with all those things. The only thing I don't love is the high downforce package. I want to see them slide those cars, and I want to see the guy who has the most car control show out. I mean, I love seeing guys like the Kurt and Kyle Busch, or Kyle Larson, or shoot for that matter, some of these young guys coming up have really got some amazing car control. Kyle Reddick, for example, I love watching these guys, but it's more fun to watch them when the cars. Visually, you can see them slipping and sliding to me. But the racing's good. It's a good product. They're trying to respond to the changing world. And I guess back to what I was saying originally. So the demand is different than it was. I saw a replay of a race, 1987, Talladega, I think during the rain delay, saw some of that. And you saw it, and you saw 3 or 4 car draft. That's all there was. And we looked at that, and I said, dude, why does that look so awesome? I mean, why does it look, well, for one thing, it was just a different time. Today, if you had that, fans would lose their mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we expect, and it doesn't entertain us. Young people have way too many options. They're not going to sit, first of all, they're not going to sit and watch a 4.5 hour race. I mean, that's just too long most of the time. You know, you've got to have some action. Double file restarts. I hated them when I raced. I like them as a fan, you know.
Yeah.
So they add drama. If you have a predetermined, you know who's going to win the race with 50 laps to go, it's not as interesting. Now you're on your seat because you're knowing there's always going to be a caution in the last 5 laps. And there's no way. The guy that had the advantage has a huge disadvantage if you have a restart, because everybody's gunning for you. And everybody's going to do whatever you don't do. Just pit strategy, lines, what are you going to do? Somebody's going to kamikaze the corner or whatever. And so there's drama. We have to have that today, or it goes out of business. Not saying it's my, you know, I love it. I mean, I do like the old school racing, but I think NASCAR is really working hard to try to appease its fans, hold on to the fans it has, and make new fans, because the younger generation aren't going to sit and watch what we sat and watched in the 80s.
And then now we're going to be having this the choose cone thing coming up soon, so that's going to be another factor into it.
Most definitely. That's a whole nother aspect. Now, you alluded to earlier, you know, no Cup Series championship, but sir, 5 runner-up points finishes. That's impressive. That's crazy. But out of all of those 5, which is the one where you go, man, that should have been the year?
Probably the year that I ran second to, by the way, all those came to the GOATs of NASCAR.
They did. Yes, they did. Actually.
But some people don't consider Tony Stewart a GOAT.
Oh, no.
But
He is.
I do. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, 3-time champion, definitely.
I'd say
he's one of the few that was able to transfer from IndyCar to Cup and win championships.
And be great on dirt.
I was interested in the argument that was had the other day about Juan Pablo. You know, I'm a huge Juan Pablo Montoya
He
fan.
gets so much disrespect. It's absolutely
it's
ridiculous.
It's pathetic. This is one of the greatest drivers in history, dude. But anyway.
Yeah. That's a whole nother argument.
So anyway, I run second to all those guys. But I think it was, I don't remember what year it was. That it seems like that was 2002, but it was somewhere along in that year, those years where all we had to do, and I told Jack, this was before we went together with Yates, you know, and all we had to do is not blow up. And I told Jack, I said, I don't care how much power I have. We just have to keep it running.
I believe you're referring to I believe 2002, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's 2002. And, you know, we had the lead. We had the championship lead. And we go to, it seems like it was Chicago. It might have been Kansas. It seemed like Chicago. And we blow up, you know, and get last. And that was 100 points back then, you know. Yeah. And, dude, I didn't need any power. All I needed to do was stay on the racetrack. And I was just, you know, I love Jack Roush with all my heart. He gave me a chance when nobody else would. I owe him everything that I accomplished in NASCAR. But his engines broke a lot. They broke a lot. Yeah. Okay, especially in the early years. By 2002, they didn't break, you know, anything like they did the first few years, because, you know, it was a different duty cycle on his engines than road racing and drag racing, which, you know, he had, was legendary in already. But we broke a lot of engines, and we just couldn't afford. And that was one where we just really we whizzed it away. Of course, 1990, we no fault of losing the 46 points at the second race of the year. There was no conspiracy to get me. That was the second race of the season. There's no way that they, now I'll tell you, France didn't want a Yankee owner to be winning a championship. I mean, I'm sure at that time in that era, he would rather Richard Childress win it than Jack Roush, honestly. But he didn't. He gave us every chance we had. There was a bogus infraction, and we got fined 46 points. We still led the points from Sonoma on, all the way down to the next to last race. And we go to the next to last race at a place that I ran pretty decent at. And Earnhardt had been running decent. Both of us were running good, but we had a nice point lead going in the next to last race. And we didn't qualify super, and we ran terrible. And he got the pole, led the most laps, and won the race. And so we went from a comfortable lead to behind into the last race, and that did it. So we got beat straight up. I don't feel like we really screwed that deal up. We don't know why we didn't run good at Phoenix. The car just wouldn't go. I don't know why. But 02 was a tough one. And also, but from 1990, that didn't bother me that we didn't win that championship because I knew they were coming. That was just my third year with Jack. We finished third in the points the year before. Then we were second. We're going to win our championships, no problem. Ain't no problem. It's going to happen. By the time we get to 02, the sand in the hourglass is about to run, is about to run out. It's time. We've got to go. And so by that time it was that one was a little tougher, and it made me really mad that we lost 100 points with that broken engine. Now 09 is a different story.
I love that
year. By the
love
time I got
year.
to 09, I did not give one flip about points.
Mhm.
I mean, I did not care. I didn't give a damn if I won a championship or not. In fact, I didn't want to run for one. In 07, I ran part-time, drove super fast cars, unbelievably fast cars, got within 3 feet of the Daytona 500 in my first race with them, and led the points going into Bristol where I was scheduled to be off. And everybody couldn't believe I didn't go to Bristol. It's like, I don't give a flip. I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. I am just so happy because I didn't have to worry about those points anymore.
Mhm.
So we ran so good there. And then the next year in the 8 car, fabulous, just about won a couple races, just really fast. Rick Hendrick keeps calling me. I mean, it's like, hey, Mark, what you doing? What's your deal? How many races you got in that 8 car? And finally, I just like, Rick, why? What is it? Because, we're not best buddies. He keeps calling me. Well, you need to come drive this 5 car. I said, oh, I will. If you'll give me 24 races. No, I wouldn't do that.
Mhm.
So then, he calls back about a month later. The third time he called, and I said no. The third time he called, I was like, I just got to thinking, man, if I could win one more race, just one more time before I have to give it up, God, I'd just give anything to experience that one more time. And so he promised me that, he'd give me the 24 races the second year if I'd run the full schedule the first year. And, I never really felt overly stressed chasing those championship points that year. I wanted it for Alan and my team. I had such an incredible team. One of the most fun, probably the second most fun I had in my career. 2012 with Michael Waltrip Racing and Rodney Childress was probably the most fun year of my career. But 09 was absolutely fabulous. And it was amazing. It was something cool to do at 50 years old, to be able to come back and just drive a rocket ship. Almost every practice they had, you could look up at that scoreboard and the 5 car would be at the top of the board. Dude, that car was stupid fast. It was so much fun. And those guys were so excited that I worked with. They were just, it was fun.
So I heard you talk about your time with Michael Waltrip Racing, and I've always been kind of interested. Like, there were so many races I can think of in that time period where I feel like you should have won. Like, you got, I can't remember how many pole awards you got driving for them. It was a lot. I remember that. So many times you had good runs. Is there any one race with the Michael Waltrip team that you wish you could have back in your hands to redo?
Yes, of course. Well, no, not really. There's nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm.
But the race I always point to is the Pocono race. And I'll tell you a little story, and maybe you'll get it so I knew Bobby Allison since I was a teenager, and Jack Roush called Bobby Allison and told him he was building a new team and he wanted Bobby to come drive for him. And Bobby said, "No, I'm not interested in doing that, but you know who you should hire? Mark Martin." Okay. So Bobby was a good friend to me, and Bobby, was instrumental in me getting my my ride with Roush. So I see Joey Logano when he's 11 years old racing, and he's outrunning all the men and out driving all the men in the Pro Series. He's a little bitty kid.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that first night I saw him race that he was going to be a NASCAR champion. And I got on the bandwagon right then, and I started promoting him. And I promoted him, and I helped him, and I promoted him. I, finally got him a lot of attention with NASCAR journalists, and I got him in with Jack Roush. And of course, they didn't treat him fair. That was shame on Roush. They screwed that deal up completely. And then he moved on. So my point being, because of the integrity I have and the person that I am, I would kill myself before I would move Bobby Allison for a win.
Wow.
I'm serious. I would rather slit my own throat. And this is what happened at Pocono. And Joey moved me, and I would have been 53 years old. It's hard to win a race at 53 years old, and I was looking good. So that race, I'll probably never completely get over. We were really close to winning with that car, and Rodney was incredible. We did sit on 6 poles that year out of 24 races. We didn't even run all the races. The cars were real rocket ships. I can't think of any race where we dropped the ball. It was just cautions. We caught cautions at the wrong time or whatever. But Rodney proved to me that he was absolutely incredible. You don't take a guy that's 53 years old and sit on 6 freaking poles out of 24 starts that's a part-timer. I mean, it's just unheard of. And of course, he's showing it now at, with Harvick and Stuart Haas. But I had the opportunity also to work with Alan Gustafson, who was absolutely unbelievable. And it was such an honor for me to drive his car because he was so young. And when a young person has respect for me, it means even more than an older person. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but when I have a young person's respect, it means enormous, because they weren't there. They didn't see, the stuff. They didn't see me get there. They haven't seen what I've been through. And they just don't know the history as if an older guy had been there. So that was really cool. But I work with some of the greatest guys in NASCAR history. I mean, Steve Mill, Jimmy Finning. Oh gosh, man! I'll tell you, Tony Gibson. Oh man, unbelievable cars Tony Gibson gave me in 2008 at DEI. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were so close to winning races there. But in fact, I swear we would have won Phoenix.
Oh,
If
I
he
remember
just
that.
would, I started not to come. If he would just listen to me, I was leading the race, y'all, and I was leading, and I was never getting past half throttle. This is before telemetry, so nobody knew it. I never pushed the throttle past halfway. The whole time I'm out there leading. I'm saving so much gas. It's pathetic. I could have, I bet I saved us 10 laps of gas. Man, I had God, I was getting good gas mileage. And he pitted me, and it's like, dude, he was racing for points. He wanted to make the owners chase. And he was so worried about points. And I'm like, we got this, dude.
Come
we got
on.
it. And so that was a tough one. But Tony Gibson's an amazing guy. And so many of Jim Finnig, and I work with some of the greatest crew chiefs in NASCAR history.
That whole situation you was talking about with the Phoenix race, that to me it just don't make any sense. Like that car the previous year, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was driving it, and honestly had a horrible performance, and that's ultimately led to him leaving for Hendrick. And then you was splitting the seat time up with Eric Almirola. It's like, we'll go for the win at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you.
I didn't even know the owner's points had its own chase. What the hell? I'm learning something new every day.
Yeah. No, they could have. The car could have been in the chase through owner's points. It would have been an owner's championship, not the driver's championship.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Anyway, it was good times. But that when I was driving that 8 car was when Rick was calling me, and it was crazy because, that's Rick Hendrick, but it wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't want to run full time anymore. But then when I decided I really wanted to win one more race, and that I would do it for 1 year, and we won right out of the gate. I mean, it was, I don't know, Phoenix early in the season, we won.
It was.
And it was so exciting. And then just a few weeks later, we go to Darlington and win Darlington, and I go back in and sit down with Rick and say, I'm loving this. I'll stay if you want me to. And he's like, we want you as long as you'll drive. We want you as long as you drive. Well, that was then. As we all know, there were some miscommunication that went down in 2010, where I just think probably he was too nice to me and wouldn't be honest to me to my face. I think he wanted Casey Kane, and I wanted Casey Kane in that car, but I was under the impression that because he had still told me in 2010, man, we want you as long as you can be around. And I'm like, dude, you need to get Casey Kane. And he signed Casey Kane for 2012, okay, and then place him somewhere for 2011, and I'll finish my year out. And that's what he did. But I in hindsight, I'd have been better off to go drive the Red Bull car and let Casey go on over there. But I didn't know it at the time that that's what he wanted. I was going off of his word, which was, Mark, we want you to drive this car as long as you will stay here. And if he would have just come to me and said, I know I said that, but now we feel differently, man, I'd be the first guy to get out of the way, because it wasn't that important to me. Running full time certainly wasn't important to me. And it was just one of those things. It was a really good deal though that we did for Rick, because the 5 car was going through a pretty tough slump, and they were about to lose sponsorship, and they were about to get in a jam. And when they signed me and brought me in there, and we won 5 races, dude, they signed up sponsorship real solid for 2010 and 2011, and it really worked out good for those guys, and it certainly worked out good for me. I can tell you this much: my retirement looks completely different based on my 3 years of racing there with Rick than it would have had I not done that.
I've always been interested in you talk about that 2011 stint because I always think I've seen a lot of fans talk about the what ifs of because to many felt like it seemed like he let Brad Keselowski go to keep around, which I don't think was a bad thing at all considering what Brad ended up doing. But now it's pretty interesting. It's just really rumors at this point. People think speculation. Oh, what if Brad came over to drive the 48? Now it's like maybe he's finally coming back, but I don't know. I think you think about all those little what if scenarios. It's interesting how things end up playing out.
Right.
Well, as far as the deal with Brad goes, that was kind of interesting that like I say, Rick really liked in 2009, he was really happy with me. He was really happy with me driving the car and told me over and over and over how they wanted me to drive that car as long as I would drive it. It is interesting that they didn't put Brad in the car because he was in line for that car. But Brad went over and helped turn a team around and into a championship deal. Dude, there's nothing better for his credentials and what he did at Penske. So kudos to Brad for going over there and winning a championship, bringing Roger Penske his first Cup championship he'd been trying to get forever and all that. So it's just it's one of those interesting things. Rick is a real special person. He's really, really a people person, and he's really, really loyal. And he ran out on a pretty far limb to hire me, and I'll not forget that. He was a really good friend to me, and still is to this day. But he and I were not close prior to. It was a business deal. I mean, he was sitting there looking at that 8 car flying every week and wanting somebody that he knew that I was a people person and a team rallier, that I had rallied people at the 01 car and rallied people at the 8 car and reinvigorated the guys at the 8. And I understood by that time in my career, I understood what rallying your guys really meant and how to do it. I wasn't an expert at that in the 90s. I was the opposite of that. I probably, I had to learn by mistakes, through my mistakes through the 90s, how to really be a good people person. And they needed all that at Hendrick, and those guys believed in me. Like, those cars were so freaking fast in 2009 because they thought I was going to be fast in them, not because I was that good. I swear I wasn't that good. The cars and the energy were so amazing that they had to go fast.
You're being a little modest, I think. a little modest, I think.
Those guys, if you would have been in that garage with those guys, it was electrifying. They were so excited. They couldn't believe they had me driving their car. And I'm like, this sure feels cool, but it ain't all me, man. This is a rocket ship.
I just be thinking, don't tell Casey Mears this.
Yeah, don't tell Casey Mears that.
but that was the energy. They didn't have, when Casey was there, they didn't have that energy. And that's what I mean. It wasn't all me. It was a lot of things, like, and to be fair with, I want to tell this story because I like being fair.
Mm-hmm.
So my first test was at Charlotte with them. The first day I drove the 8 car and Casey drove the 5. And the second day I drove the 5. Well, they rolled out a brand new car, brand new Mark car, a brand new car they built for me. Okay. It wasn't the same car as the Casey cars. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
They were excited I was going to be their driver, and they built them a lightweight car, and they did all this, and they did all these things special and different and new because they were excited. And we went out on the racetrack, and The car was loose. I run a few laps, come in, tighten it up some more, run out a few laps, tighten up some more, went out again, come in. And then he put new tires on. And I'd only been out 3 times. I thought that was really weird. Already stickers? We were out on the racetrack, boing, 5 to the top of the board. You know, and that set the tone from there going forward. They built me really special cars, and that was a lot of it. And when we stopped running good in the middle of 2010, we weren't really running as good as we had been. And I sat down with Alan. I said, you know, Alan, those are special cars you built me in 09. I said, you're still building those cars. We need new stuff. We need something better than that. We need the next step. And so cars have a lot to do with it. You know, cars have a lot to do with it, and that energy. And when Casey was driving the cars, they weren't quite the cars I was driving, and they also didn't have the energy that they had because they believed in me. You know, I mean, they just did.
That's super interesting. Well, we do appreciate your time tonight. We are going to wrap up now with just a few fan questions. We've had a few fans in the live chat. We still have nearly 1,200 people watching live, so we've had a ton of questions come in. Tried to pick out a couple that caught my attention. One from GN. This question for you, Mark. You kind of answered this earlier, perhaps, but of all your years racing, what season would you be okay forgetting about?
Oh, it would be 1982. 1982, 1981. I did 5 races, and set on. And it was the first time I'd ever even been in a NASCAR garage, and I did it with my little late model team ASA car. We sat on 2 poles, finished 3rd and 7th, led about 80 laps, and this stuff looked like it was going to be easy. Looked like it was going to be just like late model racing to me. So I went full-time racing in full-time cup in 82. Oh, what a disaster. Ran terrible, went broke, lost everything. 82 was the worst year of my career.
I think that answers that question pretty well. Jimbo Burrito sent a question. Was there a specific person or driver that pushed you to do the great things you've accomplished during your career? And if so, who?
Okay, I'd like to go, quickly through some names. Larry Phillips challenged me because Larry beat me with slower cars. But I learned I could beat Larry if I made my car fast enough faster than his. Then it was Dick Trickle. He was the king of driving. But I learned that if I raised my game with my cars, I could beat him. Gary Ballou, he raised my game on cars. I was into aero big time in 1980 when NASCAR never paid any attention to it other than Daytona and Talladega. Gary really pushed me to be aerodynamic guy, which really won me a lot of races in the 90s, what I learned racing against Gary in 1980. Then, of course, I'd have to say Dale Earnhardt was another Larry Phillips on steroids. Dale would beat me with a slower car. Wow. That really, really pisses you off. And so Dale made me raise my game, not only because I had less control of my car, I still had control of the direction that my cars were built in and set up, but I wasn't doing it myself anymore. So I didn't have full control of that. So I really had to up my game in the driving department even more. And so I would say Earnhardt.
A lot of good names there for sure. We were kind of joking about this before we went on the air, talking about this a little bit, but Blake asks, quite simply, what is your favorite paint scheme that you've driven?
Well, of course, my favorite paint scheme is the Valvoline car. The early years or the classic years, but 96, 97-ish, that car was just spectacular. best looking cup car I ever drove. But I'm really partial to my late models, the late models that I had in 1980, 79, 80, and 81, because those cars, I hung all the bodies. I painted them. I didn't leather them, but I painted them. But I hung the bodies, and I did all the setups. Those cars had my fingerprints all over, and those are the cars that I'm most proud of in my career. Were the ones that that my career was built on.
Yeah, certainly a lot of iconic schemes. Sorry, Danny, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I personally love that the 7-Eleven car you drove back in ASA.
Oh yeah,
That one-
ASA.
The we've been having the whole controversies of they're gonna push the number back, and I looked at that paint scheme like, well, it's kind of
Nice.
similar thing right there. So
Yeah, that's nice right there.
Yeah, well, we've taken up quite a bit of your time. We appreciate you being on tonight, Mark. But yeah, before we let you go, is there anything, any place people can find you that you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, if you're interested in any particular stories, there's some really good stories. If you go to markmartinpod.com or Mark Martin Pod on all the all the podcast platforms, if you look at the years, the really interesting years are 1981, because that tells how my NASCAR career got started. And then 1982 is, of course, when my career crashed and burned. And those are really, that's really important for people to know. People need to know. When I was young, I didn't care anything about history. I was only interested in today and what I was going to do in the future. And as I got older, I recognized how important the history of all history is, but the history of our sport. That's why it's such an honor to be a part of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, because that Hall of Fame is so important, because 50 years from now, no one will know. If it wasn't for that, I mean, no one would know anything about where all this came from. And they're heroes, the people that paved the way for us to be doing what we're doing today are real heroes. And it's really important to find that out. It's also important to find out, individuals' history, because you become, a lot of times you appreciate, even if you don't like the person so much, you come to appreciate where they are today based on the struggles that they had. And I certainly had my share of struggles, and there are some other really interesting years. 98, when we won all those races. 93 is a very interesting year. We won 4 races in a row in 93. And that was prior to me going to Jack Roush and telling him that I wanted out of my contract. And a lot of people don't know about that.
I do.
If we go to 1993, these podcasts are usually about 45 minutes, so they're not real long. You'll get the story on me wanting out of my contract with Jack and how it probably would have been a disaster. I actually wanted out and thought I was going to go drive for Junior Johnson. Well, wow. Junior Johnson was an incredible ride prior to 93. But after 93, deal went down pretty bad. It would have been a horrible move. At the end of the day, Steve Mill becomes the peacemaker and makes peace, and they hang the bodies on the cars like I've been wanting them to hang them. And after they do that, we go out and win 4 races in a row. So really interesting stuff there. 93, 1981, 82, if anybody wants to listen.
Yeah, lots of great stories over there. And we appreciate you sharing so many of those stories with us here tonight. I'm sure everyone watching, really enjoyed that. Well, I know on behalf of everyone on the panel here, we really appreciate you spending your time with us this evening. That was incredible. So we appreciate it.
Most definitely.
Yes, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
really
sir.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
That
means so much.
Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah, that means a lot coming from you, man.
much.
You have no idea. That's crazy. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
yeah.
see you.
No.
It's always Zoom. It's always
Mark,
Zoom all the
my
time.
microphone glitched out. Yeah, sorry. No, yeah, we appreciate you coming on, Mark. We'll have to try to do this again sometime.
Yeah, man, it's good times. And you guys are doing a great job. I really appreciate it. I love the sport, and I feel like it's in good hands when I see guys like you guys shepherding it along and bringing it to the younger generation, the new generations.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot.
Yeah, that means everything, man.
I never would have thought 10 years ago watching you drive the 5 car that I'd be having a conversation if you did not. So
No, never.
Yeah, I remember when you won that Phoenix race. I was out at Greenville Pickens Speedway, and I was driving back home, and they were like, "Yeah, Mark Martin's in the lead. Laps are winding down." And I was like, "Is he finally going to go back to victory lane?" And I remember just gunning it, trying to get home and watch those like last 2 laps on TV.
Listen,
and 10, 11 years down the road, here I am, talking to you. It's crazy.
That victory lane was absolutely unbelievable. Every guy in NASCAR that I respect the most came to victory lane and congratulated me. Now they quit doing that after we won a few races. I mean, they all. I mean, everybody you could think of comes to victory lane and congratulated me, and it was that one win, and that was it. That was what I was after, and it's so weird that we won 5 races. We could have easily won more. We could have easily beat Kyle if Newman at Bristol. If Newman hadn't lined up in front of me on old tires. That cost us that win. If I hadn't have, I couldn't stop him. But if there wouldn't have been that restart where Jimmy got ahead of me on at the brickyard at the end, and I just couldn't pass him back. He just held on the outside of me going down into 1, and you can't, pull the car around, and there was no way that I could get through there ahead of him without wrecking. But also, if you look at them, even some of those wins could have never happened. The least little thing could have happened and we wouldn't have won any of them. So it was kind of magical, It was just it was an amazing time, and it's been so long now that you could convince me I was dreaming, that I really didn't do all that stuff. But I know you guys will get a kick out of this because I could see the expression on your face when I told you I wasn't worth a damn at anything when I was a kid. And, how cool it was to see that number, my car number, at the top of a scoreboard. Mm-hmm. It was really cool being good at something. I'm not worth a damn at anything now, and I'll never experience that again. But some people never get to experience it on the level that I did. Dude, I saw that car number at the top of the board every week in 2009, but I saw it up there a lot. And a lot of people just don't get to do that. And I'm just so thankful, not bitter for what I didn't accomplish. So thankful for what I did.
I'm so glad I got to see you win in Chicagoland in 2009. I never would have thought having you sign this custom-made book. I used to make these books where I'd color them and have the driver's number and have them sign them. I never thought that 11 years ago I'd be having you sign that, and then 11 years later I'd be actually getting to talk to you again. So
funny how life works.
On behalf of all of us, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
An amazing
appreciate
night.
You guys.
Yeah, we
thank
appreciate
you.
Thank you.
So we'll be back in just a moment with the second half of this episode. But yeah, once again, big thank you to Mark Martin for coming on. We'll be back in just a moment, y'all. back. We are back. How's it going, everyone? That was awesome. Again,
was
a
great.
huge thank you to Mark Martin for being on the show for as long as he was on. A lot of great stories. Darian's got the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
I was fangirling.
What a
the
That
whole
was
time.
the-
I'm like sitting there like this.
Guys, that was the greatest interview I've ever been a part of, dude. I mean, oh my goodness, that was awesome.
I'm going to admit to you guys, there was no technical difficulties in that last few minutes. We just kept talking to Mark Martin. He is so awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
we
so
just
cool.
couldn't stop talking to him.
I mean, he's got so many stories, man, and
Yeah,
I mean,
and
some of the
his
stuff he told
podcast
us.
is like that. Like, it's just chock full of
I
information.
need to listen to it. I need to listen
Yep.
to it after
Yeah.
the show.
Darren, you
without
and I, whenever we have a long car ride,
We're listening to the
that
podcast
the whole way.
The whole way.
I mean, that's just insane. We were like, it's cool to say we've been on a call with Mark Martin for over an hour. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm
It
realizing
didn't-
also we're not going to hit that 2 hours. We're going to go way over.
We're way over a little bit.
Might be going late.
That did not feel like an hour, though.
Yeah, it didn't. It just blew right by.
We should probably get to.
All right, let's
to
get
what
to
we
the
got.
stories.
Really
Yeah, let's
quick,
get to the main stories.
I do want to mention this many super chats we got. I'm going to try to blow through these
Okay.
as quick as I can. We do really appreciate the support. But Masky Official, grab your fried Spam and egg sandwiches, boys. That was right as we were going live. Thank you for that. Steve-O, Mark Martin is a champion in my eyes. Much respect. Agree. There you go. Nate says Newman. Thank you, Nate. Ashley, thank you for the super chat. Take your pick. Which crew chief is better right now, Chris Gabehart or Rodney Childers? Mine is Gabehart. He downright won that race for Denny on Sunday. We'll talk about that race in just a moment.
Yeah,
but
we'll
that's a
talk about it.
good take. Justin Bowman fan says Tokyo Drift. There we go. Beanmaster came out with some absolute slander. I don't want to say this on the air, but he says Mark Martin is not good and Logano is better. I don't know about
Get
that
out
one.
of here.
Justin
Get outta
Bowman
here.
fan just says super chat in his super chat. Blowing through these as quick as I can. John Michael Dornoff, thank you. Met Mark in 1991 in the pits at Hickory Motor Speedway when he was helping a Busch Series rookie named Jeff Gordon. Super nice guy. That's a cool story right there.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, they both drove for Bill Davis back in the day
They
in
did,
the Busch
yeah.
Series.
yeah.
Blue Jimmy fan, thank you for the super chat. Apologize, we dethroned your 09 season. Not sorry. Of course, Blue Jimmy 48 fan, I should have clarified. Mr. Antiant, thank you. Mark, I so wish you'd won the 2007 Daytona 500. I think we all, it was a great finish, but I personally would have rather see the 0-1 car a couple feet ahead at the end there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Levi, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all the years racing, Mark. Definitely made some of the sport's biggest finishes because of you. Stay legendary. And I think, we have just a couple more. I'm trying to get these as quick as I can. Mr. Antiant, thanks. Do you think if Mark didn't get loose in turn 3 of the 2007 Daytona 500, he would have won? To me,
He
that
would have
was
won.
the most
Yeah.
exciting final lap
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
Mark got loose. Mark
Yeah.
got loose.
But
Just
you
remember
look at
that.
how far ahead. You look at how far ahead he was before that. I don't think that Harvick would have got beside to side draft him.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Dustin,
Yeah,
thank
'cause,
you. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Harvick's pusher got way behind, and Harvick kind of out on his own. So yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Dustin, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Mark. You're my pop's favorite driver. There you go. Arian Gomez, thank you. Mark, tell me things about your 87. Oh, I missed this one. This was a question from Mark Martin. I apologize. I missed this one. Tell me things about his 87 Busch season. Well, we have a super Mark Martin fan here, Slapshoes. What can you tell the world about Mark Martin's 1987 Busch Series season?
If I remember correctly, that was the year he basically like rebuilt himself from going broke in 1982.
Mhm.
He ran in the Busch Series. He had 2 cars, a speedway car and a short track car, and I think he won like 3 races and started on the pole like 5 times, and didn't even have like an enclosed trailer, had an open trailer, and would just like haul the car from Mooresville to all the racetracks and everything, and had a pretty good run.
On that note, Eric and Slap, he did mention how he's doing those podcasts year by year, so you should be able to listen to him speak about the 1987 season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll give his podcast a listen. Oh my goodness, yeah, that was a good interview. But anyways, what do we have on tap for today, though?
Well, there was the Pocono doubleheader this past weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I only watched the Saturday edition because on Sunday I went cliff diving, and let me just say, cliff diving is hella fun. I encourage everyone to
That sounds
try it
dangerous.
at least once. No, it was all good. It was all good. It
Thank
was.
you. I've been telling him this.
Hey, it was very windy, but I survived. Anyway, so to the Saturday's race though. Saturday's race was all right. I mean, look, people know, if you, I'm not a fan of Pocono. I'm not the biggest fan, but Pocono does have a rich history. So you know what I mean. Like I do respect it in terms of that. But as far as the racing is concerned, though, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, Pocono is the strategy track. So I mean, I was expecting varying strategies to take place, not too many cautions. I mean, we did have quite a few cautions throughout the weekend, though. I'm gonna say, I gotta say that. Oh wait, can you guys hear me?
Sunday.
Can you guys hear me with this on? Okay.
Are you gonna be wearing this the whole episode?
Well, no. Just this one time. Anyways, but the point is though, I mean, Pocono. I mean, this weekend's Pocono races, they were a little bit better than usual. I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, there were some exciting moments, especially the one race I missed. I ended up watching the highlights on Sunday, and Denny Hamlin just straight up drove and ran down Harvick. But I mean, again, his crew chief Chris Gabehart did put him in that position. And, I'm really looking forward to this whole, Kevin Harvick versus Denny Hamlin battle. I mean, what do they have now? 4 wins amongst the two of them? That's crazy. So, you know what?
This year, they got
4 each.
I also want to say I was very surprised by Eric Almirola. I'm disappointed he didn't get a win. But now I didn't realize how good he's done, actually, the last 4 races. And I'm like, dang, maybe he's starting to come back. He had a lot of momentum. He had a lot of momentum in 2018, lost a little bit last year, but maybe he's starting to make a comeback.
Yeah, 4 so we'll see top 5s.
Yeah, so I mean that's absolutely crazy. But again, Pocono, the doubleheader weekend, not as bad. And I'm gonna take this off because it's getting hot. All right, go ahead.
It was. I mean, what to expect with Pocono. That's the thing right there. It's not going to be this great side-by-side race in the entire time. It's not Talladega. It's not old school Michigan or Auto Club or Chicagoland, even like any of those ones. But I will admit the strategy was pretty good, and I'll admit that I'll say that I thought that in the first one, Hamlin and Harvick weaving in and out of lap traffic, chasing after one another, that little cat and mouse game was fun. Even if it didn't amount to like this side-by-side finish, it was still really fun to watch. So that was pretty good. Overall, they weren't great races. There were good strategies in them. I will say the second one I think was a little more intriguing due to the fact that we didn't know when it would end. We were primed to have it. Like one more caution comes out, or we have a red flag. We're primed for a 2007 Kansas moment, right? Mm-hmm. And so that if they can, they should try and get some lights in there. But people acting like it was the worst thing ever. No, it's not. It's not as bad as the last year's first Pocono race. It's not as bad as Indianapolis probably will be this weekend. Like it's not the worst races we've seen. I don't even think it's as bad as the Atlanta race this year. Honestly, it had intrigue in it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Pocono's known for often lending itself to interesting strategies, and you really saw strategy kind of win both races. I do agree. I think the Sunday race was a little bit better. Of course, you had a triple header of action. Xfinity and Trucks had a lot of chaos at times, but those races were extremely entertaining. And I think some of that kind of restlessness carried over into the Cup race. We saw a lot of wrecks, a lot of spins in the first 2 stages, kind of evened out and got spread out in stage 3, and that's when you saw the strategy call from Hamlin's team to keep him out ahead of Harvick and ultimately drive away at the ends. But yeah, you guys are right. It's really set up sort of a Denny Hamlin versus Kevin Harvick. They feel like the class of the field so far through the first almost half of the season. We're more than halfway through the regular season now. At some point, we always talk about the top finishers. At some point on these podcasts, we're going to start looking at the points because it's going to get down to that time of the year.
I got something to say though about Hamlin. Here's the thing. We've been here before. Denny Hamlin winning all these races, but you know what? As of right now, until Denny Hamlin officially gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, all these wins mean nothing right now without that championship, man. I mean, I'm just saying, man, like we've been here before so many times. I mean, 2010, and also, 2014, and then just last year, 2019. This has to be the year he finally gets it done. I mean, I'm getting this feeling in my stomach, though, man, that this could be the year. I mean, Hamlin seems to be a little bit more optimistic. I mean, in the past, he's been like, well, yeah, I could go without the championship. But I feel like Chris Gabehart was probably the greatest thing to ever happen to Denny Hamlin's career later on because, Chris Gabehart was the first guy to say, hell no, we're going to win a championship. Don't you ever say it again. You know what I mean? So, he's putting it in his mind like, dude, you can be a champion if you just stick with the plan. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm excited, though.
Yeah, I think was last year the first year with Chris Gabehart on the 11 because I believe I saw a stat. They've won like 20% of the races since he took over. Like that's substantial.
Instant success. The last time that's happened really with a crew chief and driver, you have to go back to Kyle Busch 2015 with Adam Stevens. I mean, they used to work together a lot in the at the time Nationwide series, and then comes back from his injury, and then boom, championship. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, also speaking of Kyle Busch Motorsports, man, in the truck series, they've taken a nosedive, a huge nosedive, man, and I am not exaggerating. I mean, it's good that Brandon Jones won, but you're looking at their championship contending drivers. It's not good. It's not a good situation. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's the equipment or if it's the talent that's being put behind the wheel. So let's go and find out.
I think Eckes has a lot of potential. However, Lessard, I'm not really digging it.
Lessard, though, I do feel, he does have some potential.
He's like 17, right? Or 18. Like, he's really young. Like, they're still all really young.
If Darian's the main jinxer, does this mean him saying someone's doing bad will mean they do good, though?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you know what? This could be their turnaround. You never know. But Lessard, though, he's Canadian. I love Canadians when they race. I love them, coming across the border. I'm a huge Alex, what's his name? LeBay fan. Yeah,
huge fan. I don't even know his name.
Fan. Love the guy.
Huge fan,
right? Such a big fan.
Huge fan of his Canadian man.
Hello, Maple Leaf.
But here's the thing, though.
You're drive-through, right? Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Lessard is so young. He's such a young kid, though. So give him some time. And then also, looking back at history, the Truck Series, it's a totally different beast. Harrison Burton proved that last season. Didn't do too hot last year, but I mean, put him in the Xfinity Series, and he's just automatically like that, a championship contender. So I'm just saying, man, the Truck Series to me, in terms of finding young talent that could perhaps race in the Cup Series someday and putting them there, I don't know. I don't know about that route anymore. I'm not sure about that.
Believe it or not,
it was different like a few years ago back when you had, Ron Hornaday, Mike Skinner, heck, even had Travis Kvapil still running around in there winning races. Then you had to go in there, you had to prove you could at least run with those guys. Then you can move the next step up. There's like Matt Kraft in there, Johnny Sauter, and
Chastain still shows up.
So. And
Chastain still shows up. So so you've got a much thinner field of veterans to prove yourself against.
This shows like how Cup usually does at Pocono is the fact that we were talking. This conversation started with the Cup races at Pocono, and we immediately went screw
that. Who cares?
Let's go for the Wreck Fest. Let's talk about that.
Shout out to Vargas though, Ryan Vargas, man.
Top 10 for a while.
He was competing for a top 5 at the end there, and the car just got tight.
He honestly, with everything that happened, I think he had an 8th place run. He just messed up at the end.
Hey, look, man, Vargas is only 19 years old. I mean, just speaking with him personally, getting to know him, over the past 2 years, like, I can't believe he's in this position right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
he's got a bright future.
A bright future in the sport, man. Oh, he's gonna be a stud. Just watch out.
If he can just show the right people that he can show the people he's got what it takes, so he can get a good sponsor to come in, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan can end up having at least a 1 race deal with a bigger team in the next few years.
Just say. I mean, just think. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, he's got connections and stuff. Go ahead, Jared.
Just kind of running back over though to the doubleheader really quick. I just want to get to what the ratings were and then read what some people had to say with the poll because we hit 2 new records again.
Nice, a new poll record.
I just know everybody doesn't want to be sitting here at 11 o'clock at night. Like
no.
Yeah, I got work tomorrow.
Dang, it's already 6:25 over here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hey man,
I'm actually standing here too, so
I can see that. Yeah, I see you like. Anyway, the races got a 1.63 and a 1.62 in the rating, so very consistent, even though they're on different channels. 2.57 million viewers the first day, 2.66 million viewers the second day, and then Fox Sports had said they're averaging 3.778 million viewers for the first 15 Cup races, which is 1% lower than last year that had a 3.817, but there also is like 8 more rainouts. than last year. And
Dude,
And Daytona was rained
These
out.
rainouts, man. What is the deal?
2020 is going to be the biggest, like, just in general, but for NASCAR ratings, it's going to be like the biggest what if ever. Like, honestly, because it's like we're like prime to strike, baby. Only one's back. Baseball's gone. Basketball, all of them.
Remember
We got
Daytona.
this rain.
Remember Daytona. This is gonna be the greatest year ever. Let's go. No,
Freaking jinxed.
I jinxed the whole year. So,
It was-
back to the poll.
Impressive though, looking at those ratings really quick, that the race on cable actually got more viewers than the race on broadcast. I mean, that doesn't happen like ever, but I think it probably happened because of the triple header leading up to it. You had people who watched the trucks, watched the Xfinity, and it was all in FS1. It was just FS1 all day, was NASCAR, NASCAR, NASCAR. I would assume that's what boosted it, but that did surprise me that the cable race actually got slight. Also Sunday afternoon, people who are casual tuned in because they knew it was on Sunday afternoon. But I thought that was impressive.
Y'all want me to go into the polls?
Heck yeah.
Oh,
I won't go overboard on the comments this time. So the first day we got a new track record.
Whole record. We suck at this, y'all.
yeah, we said.
Yeah, 7.4 thousand views for what did you think of the 2020 Pocono Organics 325? I swear I show for every race sponsor. 7% of you thought it was great. 32% thought it was good. 46% of you thought it was average. You milquetoast fence sitters. 10% of you thought it was below average, and 6% of you thought this race was
Bad.
C Primetime has the top comment here on my screen. Says this was a good race as far as strategy went. Tomorrow's going to be a whole lot more different.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
It was a little.
Zach is good at games. I hope you are, but says the strategy helps, but the race was bad mostly because Pocono is just bad for stock cars. For IndyCar, it's amazing. Let's see.
Well, you
dangerous.
didn't watch the trucks and Xfinity race then. So.
I heard it this one, so it must be real good. Runnings Racing says for Pocono, that was an extremely good race, and actually, I didn't want to fall asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Such a high standard.
Yeah.
Patriotic Pioneer says race 2 of saying milquetoast fence sitter until Jarrett reads my comments on the NASCAR Weekly podcast. You got it, bud.
Yeah.
I made sure to
Good
heart
Lord.
that one so I knew. Let's see what else. I'm gonna scroll down, but we got like 200 something comments here. JRC Automotive says Pocono was boring in my opinion. Should have done a doubleheader at Martinsville or Bristol instead. So average.
I mean, in the future. I mean, why not? You know, you never know.
Let's see. I'm gonna see what the bottom comment has to say.
Oh no.
Allie V is the bottom comment. Says I did not like that Kevin Harvick won. I hate him.
Oh, what? Come on.
Whoa.
Why? Harvick's so.
Stuff.
He's so nice.
Well, anyway, we had 7.4 in that one. Well, we had a new
Poll
record!
Danny, what are you
Let's
doing?
go.
We need you in on this.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Pocono 350? 7.6 thousand of you voted, which again, compared to last year when Pocono was one of the first races we hit 1,000. Thank you all for voting. 7% of you thought it was great. 51% of you thought it was good. 31% of you stayed on the fence. 6% of you thought it was below average, and consistency here, 5% of you thought it was bad. So we had net negativity of 11% and net positivity of 58%. Interesting fact here, the only poll in history of this show that has went net negative was last year's first Pocono race.
Damn.
So we beat that.
Any
Better
positive
than
is
last
good.
year. Better than last year.
Not bad.
Carnation is the first comment. What
Of
a
course.
shock.
Of course.
I'm just going to heart it now because
Might as well.
after what I saw in the Xfinity race today, it's clear that Pocono isn't the issue. It's the package.
Yep. We've been saying that for a while.
It's also the drivers. There are a lot of mistakes in that Xfinity race by
that
young
is true.
drivers.
Well,
Yeah.
go back to what Mark Barton was saying earlier. It's these cars, in his opinion, are easy to drive. So
At tracks
Yeah.
like Pocono, I'm sure they are, especially if you
And
have any clean air.
also no practice either. So take that into account as well.
Caleb Leno, which do you have a picture of Michael Marutz as your profile? I can't tell. It looks like it. Might not be. Championship seasons, bad weather 2020. Darian, make this happen.
Wait, hold on. I had my headphones out. What'd you say?
Championship season's bad weather 2020. Darian, make it happen.
Oh, man, screw this weather, man. I'm so sick of it.
Motorsport fan 17, obligatory rant about Chris Buescher crashing here. Let's see. Jacob Hunt says Gen 6 and COT car seems to be most of the issues at Pocono. Xfinity was awesome.
Yeah, Xfinity was cool. Was the truck race good? I was still asleep.
It was good.
It's a lot of crashes, but it was pretty good.
Grindcore Rager 67 says Pocono was made specifically for IndyCar, and NASCAR fans took that away from it. Suffer you cry, baby.
There are rumors though. There are rumors though
It's a
of
funny
IndyCar
comment.
returning next year, so it is possible they might return.
I love salty comments, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good one.
Philip Richards with the 18th Amendment. Nice job, man. I'm glad that people are through this show. We teach you about everything from NASCAR to history. So
Wait, what's the 18th Amendment? I don't know what that is.
I'm not scrolling back up.
Oh,
I think that was women's suffrage, wasn't it?
oh no. Wait, that's a good thing, right?
He said, "Oh no."
Okay, all right, that's a good thing.
Of course, Darian doesn't know.
I don't know, man. I honestly
We're
don't.
throwing it back
I'm
to
just
season one
laughing.
tonight, man. We're throwing it back to season 1 tonight.
That's funny.
Um,
No. The 18th Amendment, I think, is actually about prohibition. I think.
Hey,
that's
there
not
we
a good
go.
thing.
I thought
There you
that was the 19th. I got it mixed up.
Man, see, we're getting our things mixed up.
Well-
I don't know, man.
We all got to go back to school.
We gotta go back. I only know like the first 3 amendments. That's
I know the 10 NASCAR commandments, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they repealed that amendment, so it's like it never even happened anyway.
Yeah, we just
Hey,
skipped
hey.
that one.
This is the only amendment that matters on this podcast. Raise hell, praise Dell. All right, let's go.
Okay, last comment. Canadian Flash, which is fitting for it being Canada Day. Boring as I can't cuss.
Insert Canadian swear word.
Maple syrup.
Anyway, thank you all for voting in the poll. Should we just get all just hammer all the stuff out of the way?
Might as well.
We
might
should
as well.
before we
Just
go
lightning round everything.
before we turn the last hour, however much longer we hope we go on this thing into the lightning round. I want to blow through some super chats really quick because some of them
All right.
are related to Pocono this weekend. Mr. Awesome says, "Slap, that 2021 schedule video is legendary." I agree. Hard not to agree with pretty much every point made in that video. Beast of Metal, thank you. Quick spotlight on Michael McDowell posting his record-breaking 34th last place finish in Cup.
Dude, I was on the
during
edge of my
Sunday.
seat for that. Me
Hey,
and
he
Brock
got a
Beard were
top
talking
10.
about that. We're like, barring any sort of disqualification, he's got this. He's going
I
to beat
saw
Joe
that.
Nemechek.
Hey, he got a top 10 though on Saturday. You gotta give him his props though. Still got a top 10.
Highs
The
and
best-
No
lows.
disrespect. No
Yeah, just
disrespect.
saying. Just gotta make sure.
Yeah.
The best meme that I saw this weekend was Michael McDowell breaks the record for most last place finishes, and it's somewhere there's Brock Beard. Like this.
Yeah, just like yeah.
Yeah,
there
Brock
we
Beard
go.
with just heavy breathing.
Just like, oh my God, please get this. So.
We talk about every record on this podcast. GN, thank you for the super chat. Good weekend for Matt DiBenedetto, 13th and 6th. Could have had a top 10 run on Saturday had Greg Irwin not messed up the strategy. Hope he keeps it up. DiBenedetto, yeah, solid performance. He's still right there in playoff contention. Hopefully that works
What
out.
are
for
the
him.
points? Can we look at the points later?
We'll
After this.
Look them up, Darian.
We can pull that up
Okay.
in a moment. Shane Williams says, what are y'all's favorite NASCAR video games? I'm between 07 and Thunder 2004.
NASCAR Thunder 2004.
All right.
05.
05, yeah.
close.
Chase for the cup.
There you go. Hunter, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Fat Mike says, do you guys think that this year's Championship 4 will be the usual guys, or do you feel that there may be a wild card or two in Phoenix?
It's gonna at least be Truex, Harvick, and Kyle Busch. I
Hey,
think.
Have y'all seen that meme?
Hamlin.
Have y'all seen that meme where it has the 4 Titans and it has Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., and then it says some other guy
Yeah, and here's the thing.
That's
Here's
how
the
it
thing.
is.
Here's the thing.
every year.
That
It
some
is.
other guy will be Ryan Blaney. Mark my words.
What if it's
I like
Chase Elliott though?
It'll be him or
he's
Denny
pretty
Hamlin,
fast.
probably.
Yeah, one of those guys. We'll see. We'll
No,
see.
no,
I mean,
I had said because we'll talk about this a little more in the lightning round, but how the Nashville banquet and everything is canceled. I go watch. This is the year Denny Hamlin wins when he can't
Oh.
properly be honored as a champion.
that's like when the Vikings won the 1968 NFL championship, right? Or 1965 NFL championship.
whatever
like the last one.
it was before the Super Bowl. Yeah, no, but yeah, we
It didn't matter.
Life is pain.
It sucks.
Mr. Antient asks, will you guys be watching the Indy GP? Who's winning that?
Yeah,
I will definitely be watching.
Scott Dixon, bro. Scott Dixon. This is his bread and butter track. But be on the
Simon
lookout
Pagenaud.
for Simon Pagenaud, Joseph Newgarden, and of course Colton Herta, who has been on the show before. So be on the lookout.
I'm going Homer here with Herta.
Me too.
I mean, he's talented. He's talented. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with her. I'm going with Herta.
Only IndyCar driver we've had on the show to this point, and he was really fun to
fix
talk
that.
to. So,
Not biased at all.
yeah. Mr. Antient, thanks again for Danny. Kyle Busch didn't sweep and wrecked. Haha. So, Mr. Antient's coming after your picks for last week, Danny. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, I was way off on that one. But
You know what? I was pretty accurate with mine. My picks got an average finish of 1.5.
Oh, they did. That's right.
That would-
they did.
You win
I
the
just
week.
picked Hamlin.
The whole time.
Ashley,
I was close.
Ashley, thank you for the super chat. Chase Briscoe is Cup ready. I think he's of the Xfinity regulars. He and Chastain would probably be the two I think could go into Cup and be decent right now. But
Here's
everyone
the
else, I
thing,
don't know.
though.
Watching him beat Kyle Busch was what sold it to me.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. I mean, with which team, though? Which team will have a ride available? That's the main question.
Yeah. No, you'd hope
'cause
he'd go to a SHR or a Penske or something like that. But
yeah.
I don't see SHR pulling a Daniel Hemrick like RCR did to get Reddick in. I don't see them doing that with Cole Custer.
No.
And the rumors are, I don't know. Did we talk about it last week about the rumors for the 14?
About Larson possibly being there.
Yes.
Yes, we talked about it for.
So
a bit.
yeah, I don't think there'd be an open spot at SHR.
things you got to consider. I'm thinking Almirola is showing that he's still running good. It may not be time to let him
And he's
go.
got sponsorship.
Yeah, and he's got Smithfield, so I don't know. He might not be going anywhere. Something to consider. I haven't even thought about this. Is there a word if Newman's back next year? I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if he just decides to hang it up. Honestly,
I think he's in an option year. Like Roush has the option to extend him, or he has the option to stay. I think
32.
Briscoe being a Ford, I wouldn't roll
32.
out the 6 car.
What about the 32?
Oh, the 30. Oh, Corey LaJoie, he should be. He should be brought back.
I wouldn't want Corey LaJoie taken up. What I'm saying is that if Briscoe brings like sponsorship by chance,
then
or,
you have no choice.
especially if it doesn't get him in the headlines.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to. No offense to Go Fast Racing, I don't know if I'd want to see him having to go for Go Fast.
It would have to be like a Gibbs Levine deal where they Gibbs and Levine like SHR, which they already kind of have a very loose partnership. They would have to really get involved in that team, I think, for it to be worthwhile.
Here's the thing. I mean, we've had drivers on the podcast before say, "Yeah, I'd rather be in the Cup Series and a shitty ride." I mean, maybe that might be him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we'll see what happens. So we'll see.
And last super chat, Michael Klein. Thank you, Michael. Who's all going to the All-Star race? I think most of us on this panel. Slap, are you going to the All-Star race?
No, I couldn't get the days off.
Aww.
It's midweek races, man. That's gonna be the struggle.
Yeah.
He's got an important job with that one company.
Hey, he's serving our country, man. He's working while all of us aren't. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
I just hope that warehouse burns down. I'm so done with it right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's it for super chats. I appreciate you guys sending all those in. We appreciate it here. But yeah, are we ready to kind of just bang through these topics?
Latest lightning round ever.
All right, so here we go. Next time for the quickest lightning round of all time on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jared, do your thing.
It actually didn't break the mic, so good job.
I know, I did. I was perfect. All right, Jared, go ahead.
We actually have about 20 things in the lightning
Oh,
round.
I'm sorry. The longest one. The longest.
My God.
I'm just gonna let you take it.
Brad Keselowski still has not received a contract extension offer from Penske so far, according to Adam Stern. Said there could be an option, but it's looking pretty dire at this point for Penske. If they were wanting. Yeah.
Andrew.
NASCAR has canceled Champions Week at Nashville, as well as the awards banquet. Plans to go back in 2021, again, according to Adam Stern. And you watch, Denny Hamlin will win when they can't celebrate his championship. TV ratings. This is always stuff we like to talk about. According to Adam Stern, has had no effect since the Confederate flag ban. There's been no effect on the TV ratings from it.
I'm done watching NASCAR.
Gee, it's almost like they were never watching in the first place.
I can't have my special flag, so I'm done.
Yeah, some of the people that are the quickest to jump in and say, I'm not watching NASCAR anymore because of this. They haven't watched in like 10
They
years.
always come back. They always come back too. That's the funny part.
They think Jeff Gordon's on the 24.
2 years ago today, I was sweating my ass off watching Slide Job in person. And I can tell you it was glorious. But I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention and do my not so humble brag. 90-degree plus temps are going to be all weekend and the highest chance of rain all weekend. Drum roll, please. He broke his damn mic. 20%.
20?
I love that.
Oh, we're screwed.
20% chance of rain, yes, which means in NASCAR terms, you invert the field.
Yeah. Means 200% chance of rain.
Slap, I think you tweeted about this, about how we missed an opportunity because Dale Jr. was supposed to be in the Fox booth at Sonoma to pass the torch.
Dude, that would have been a throwback to the early 2000s. They used to do that with, the late Benny Parsons. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Dale Jr. is Benny Parsons for the 2020s.
I don't get why we still can't do this because it's just a studio in Charlotte. He just has to go down the road.
I know.
They go back and forth with the races.
Yeah.
So NBC gets a race this weekend, then Fox, then back to NBC.
Well, then just hand the baton back to Jeff Gordon. Say, hey, I'm done this for a minute.
It's a throwback to the old TV deals when the tracks used to do them. You'd have different, television stations, and broadcast the races. So.
And still Benny Parsons would be at like every single race somehow.
Mm-hmm,
Even though it was across like 8 different networks.
Every time.
The cone rule will now be in effect at the All-Star race, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then we talked about it earlier. English is difficult. We talked about this guy earlier, Ryan Vargas. Our friend Ryan Vargas will be racing at Kansas.
He's the real deal. He's the real deal, guys.
So some sad news here. The Knoxville Nationals have been postponed to 2021. 50% attendance cap for the Indy 500, which means some people are not going to be able to go after buying tickets. Mike Harmon's in some hot water for doing what he's done for years. He has a We Stand for the Flag car. Again,
guys, this is what he does, man. Leave him alone. He's just an old man. He's just trying to live out, his dream.
There's nothing exactly wrong, but the timing is not good.
Yeah, the timing's not good.
And I'm going to just say this. I don't think we need a car to tell you this. I will always stand for it. And if you do what you want, I'm going to always stand for it.
Yeah, everyone has a difference of opinion, and he's just expressing his difference of opinion. Not a big deal. So let's move on.
Jimmy Johnson is testing a Chip Ganassi Indy car.
Watch.
Happy 30 years to Days of Thunder, because that happened. According to Jeff Gluck, 15 drivers have earned Cup playoff points this year. Wow. Kyle Busch is not one of them.
Wow.
Wait, 15? I mean, we're 15 races in.
That's like stage wins or race wins.
Stage wins or race wins. But
talk about parity. Wow.
Kyle Busch is not one of those guys.
Oh well.
Like
he wins all the time.
Wow.
He could have a flurry at the end of summer though. So
this one took me by surprise. If qualifying isn't brought back soon, Morgan Shepherd will have to shut his team down effective immediately.
No. Wait. Why?
Because the payouts when they have made the fields bigger, the payouts become smaller.
Oh no. We need to bring it back. No. Morgan Shepherd, dude, that dude is a stand-up guy, man. He's like one of the last, connections to the really deep past of NASCAR. Man, please.
I'll tell you all this. Like, I'm a religious guy. If you ain't, that's fine. If you are, great. But some of y'all should at least listen to his testimonial of what reason he started running that car for Jesus. Like, listen to his testimonial. It's really good.
Yeah, man. He's a God-fearing man. That's for sure.
I want to shout this guy out because he's been doing this series for a while now, and I love it. Rio Radman. Good friend of ours. Yeah. He's been doing this NASCAR Thunder 2004 season series for the past couple of weeks or months, actually, at this point. Do it for Dale. Awesome. I'm like at the edge of my seat watching him the entire time.
It's so entertaining. Does he have the points lead now?
Yes.
Right, good.
No, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay. Go watch it. Yeah,
last time I checked, he did. But what's really cool is he's in a points battle with the guy we just had on.
That's cool.
Also, the Lost Speedways trailer released this week. Natalie Decker was not racing this past weekend because of complications with a gallbladder surgery in December. Luckily, she's doing well right now. And then we want to wish her the best and for quick recovery.
Right.
Mike Tirico is going to be hosting the NASCAR IndyCar crossover at Indy.
I love him.
On Saturday.
Love him. Mm-hmm.
Well, the dude's just a straight up professional. I remember he was at Daytona in 2015.
Yep. And in 2018.
And
or
2017? 17, because it was Dale Jr.'s last
That's right.
race
Mm-hmm.
at Daytona. Images of the alleged noose have been released by NASCAR. Why they didn't do this before, everyone went to the press, I don't know.
And we all make mistakes, but that was a big one.
The Sons of the Confederacy, the ones who flew the rebel flag, will do it again at multiple races this year. They said supporters love the idea and reacted with excitement after watching it on television.
Hey, let me just say this really quick. That's all of their life savings, so just probably.
Did they show it on television? They didn't show it.
No, they didn't show it on TV.
It was just like circulating around Twitter.
Nor should they. That's all that they want.
Yeah.
I went around Twitter, like all the people taking pictures of it, and I would just like post the only comment I would make on it was I would just post like an American anti-aircraft battery.
Come on, guys! Like, don't use all of your life savings for something ignorant. Come on now.
Most of us are going to an All-Star race. If we see anyone doing this crap, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to give them any publicity.
No. What we'll do is we will wave that big giant fucking American flag, man. That's what we're gonna do.
Be flying high.
According to Bob Pockris, New Hampshire Motor Speedway will have fans up to 35% capacity. So it holds 76,000 total capacity. Hasn't reached that in years. So if you divide this up, it means that 26,600 fans can be in attendance. So I hope this all goes well. But the second wave might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Actually, finishing off, we have two things. Two things about somebody on this panel. One, Darian is closing in on 30,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah, where am I at right now?
I don't know.
Where I'm at. Hold on.
You.
Let me refresh.
And he was in a New York Times article this week.
That's right. I saw that. That's
I completely
What?
forgot about that. Yeah, that was last week, man. I don't know. Last week feels like forever ago now. But yeah, I am. Let's see. I believe 85 subscribers away from 30,000. So if you guys want to help me out, feel free to sub to my channel. It's down in the description.
And that's the lightning round. We only have like 3 things to talk about for picks.
Okay, you know what time it is. And once again, that is another lightning round on the NASCAR on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Cue that Geico commercial. There's round and round.
Round.
You messed up saying round, but you did perfect on the end because it didn't crack at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting better.
Killing it today.
It sounded like a car revving him. Anyway, so we got 3 things to talk about, and let's save the fun one for last.
There's a
because
fun
the
one?
other 2, there's one that's relatively fun, and the other 2 are serious.
It's all fun. What are you talking about?
All fun.
Good point. So Corey LaJoie is going to be sponsored by Trump.
Oh boy!
And the internet is having it's fun.
Okay. All right. I'll speak on this first right now. Okay. Let me just say this. All right. Let's all be adults here for a second here. Let's all just put all your politics aside. Okay. I don't care where the money is coming from. That is a small team. That is a business. In order to keep the business going, you need money. And the money might come from different places. Listen, whatever your opinions on, Trump or Joe Biden, I mean, to me, that's irrelevant, okay? Everyone, and I mean everyone, is welcome to advertise in this sport as long as it is not hateful, disturbing, that sort of thing. Like a fun story too.
Presidential campaigns have been doing it for decades.
Right, but a fun story too. What's his name? Steve. We talked to him in Daytona. He's a fan. He runs his own business. He's sponsoring Jeremy Clements' car this weekend. Like, I mean, he became a fan, but at the same time, he was running his own business, and now he's putting money into the sport. So I love that. Here's the thing. That to me, there is nothing wrong with any sort of politician or any sort of social movement, willing to sponsor
either the sport or a race car that is in the sport, okay? Black Lives Matter is welcome. Trans Lives Matter is welcome, all right? Trump is welcome to sponsor a car. Now, get this though. It's not actually him. It's a private group of investors and another business, maybe a third party that,
it's a super PAC.
Yeah, so it's basically a super PAC. So it's not really him. But the point is, guys, that's what we need. We need money to flow into the sport to keep it going. And also, don't you dare come at Corey LaJoie and his family, okay? That
He had
man,
to private his Twitter
Yeah,
because of
okay.
all the crap.
That is absolutely, excuse my language, that is bullshit. And let me tell you why. That man is just trying to feed his family. He's doing his job, and his job is to drive the race car. He has absolutely zero input into what is put on the car. His job is just to drive it. So
Just to drive it.
lay off of him, okay? That's all I have to say.
And here's the
I think
thing:
he covered.
these campaign committees. Not everyone who works for a campaign committee is a horrible person. Just because you're like, I've seen a lot of people who voted for President Trump, probably going to vote for him still the next time, but they don't support all the hateful crap that some of his supporters have been saying. It's some of his supporters.
Some, yes, I know.
It's not. It doesn't represent everyone, and that's an important thing to know about all this.
Yes, and also I'm a centrist, by the way, so I am on neither side. I think both sides are freaking toxic, okay? But the point is, guys, everyone is welcome in the sport, okay?
Yeah.
Vote for who you think's best for you. That's why on election day they give everyone a private area to go do that. At the end of the day, it shouldn't matter who you choose.
I think
Vote for Pedro.
Yep.
I think
for Pedro.
you summed it up best, though, is money. Like, there's reports that they're paying over $350,000 for this, bit of sponsorship.
Secure the bag,
that's
man.
huge money for Go Fast. There's reports a few weeks back that Joe Biden or either his campaign or one of his super PACs is spending millions on TV ads for upcoming NASCAR races. So,
15 million.
yeah, political campaigns using NASCAR as one of their platforms, or is using NASCAR as a way to get their message to their voters or potential voters, is nothing new. It obviously feels like a big deal right now because of the ongoing, political stuff and everything. Of course, the fact that NASCAR has been in the political and social news so frequently the last couple weeks, the timing feels noteworthy for that reason. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, again, I agree with what you said. Don't go after Corey LaJoie for it. Corey LaJoie is just there to drive the car and keep his career afloat at this point. And that team is kind of in the same boat. They got to take the money, the funding, wherever it may come from. And we were talking to Mark Martin before the show, and even he was like, he was talking about when Viagra came on the car, and he's like, he wasn't super big on Viagra. Like, that wasn't really like his first choice of a sponsor at the time, but they brought the money, at least what he said.
I think he would have rather have kept Valvoline. I think.
Oh yeah, but
So-
I mean, he has no input in that though.
I just did the math on this. This is a 9-race deal with the Trump car, and actually when you break it down, it's actually a little under $40,000 a race. And we break it down like that, like $350,000 sounds big, but less than $40,000 a race for a cup.
That was the initial bid, was $350,000. They might have added more money as they negotiated for more races.
I hope that they did, because that's not a lot for.
And
it
to the
hasn't been
people
updated since the contingency story came out. So I want to see what it is now.
And finally, and lastly, to the people who are saying no, they shouldn't have taken the money. What are they supposed to do? Go out of business? Come on now. Come on.
Yes, because my side is right.
Yeah, my side is right. So therefore, you guys should go out of bed. Guys, relax, okay?
Yeah, I put on Twitter that we should stop complaining about political ads in NASCAR and just have them have CBD already.
Yeah, bring that in. Damn.
I want a
money
weed
there.
car.
Yeah,
I want a weed car.
And
I want a big ass leaf on the hood, and I want to see Snoop Dogg there.
You almost had it with Carl Long. Remember that situation?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll have Snoop Dogg on there, but they'll have some tree on there. That's
I just want some like
have him there at the track.
Hey, I have him at the track.
waving
There
the
we
green,
go.
the green flag, of course.
Unless you're just straight up asking someone to try to run like a clan car, like.
Yeah, okay, as long as
I
it's
can
not hateful.
see it now.
Yeah.
I can see it now. Joe Schmo's marijuana 400.
I'm just waiting for the day when we lift some of the restrictions on weed and CBD and everything, and then like some multi-millionaire like weed mogul magnate from Colorado is like, I want to go racing. He's just he just has like, it's like Furniture Row all over again, but just weed.
Right.
It's a matte green car.
Meanwhile, if that day comes, Winston and the tobacco industry are sitting there like, what the crap?
What the hell? We
Rolling
got
in their
supporters
graves.
Well, too bad. The times have changed.
Well, I mean, can they come in with vape pens? Winston vape pen
they
Cup
could.
Series.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah, why not?
I'm glad we had fun with this because our next story is there's no way we can start joking about this one. Any of y'all seen the stuff with Barstool?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Real quick, hold on. I want to say NASCAR's comment first.
Okay.
There is none.
Yeah, none. Okay.
Okay.
So,
What happened? This is news to me.
I want to say something on this first. Over the last few years, the people within Barstool Sports did a lot to try to bring in some new NASCAR fans. I'll give them that much. Now that this has come out, though, it would probably be in NASCAR's best interest to try to distance a little bit.
So Slap, what came out is that there's a huge compilation of videos of Dave Portnoy basically just saying the N-word casually
here's the
through
thing.
the years, and the thing is, he's not like they gave him because I'm a person like give Kyle Larson a second chance. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm against cancel culture. Give the person a chance to be like, okay, I'm sorry, whatever. Except he kind of is doubling down on it and sending his meme people after anyone, and he's like blocking anyone that asks about it. That's like,
here's my
sorry,
take
dude.
on the deal. Look,
You got
here's
your
my
chance.
take on here's my take on the deal. Okay, I've seen the videos, all of them. Okay, we've had these discussions about the N-word on the show, unfortunately. Okay, and I would be a total hypocrite if I didn't admit that. Yes, in my vocabulary, you know, where I'm from, I have used that abbreviated version so many times, okay? Where I'm from, it's basically a cuss word, okay? White people say it, black people say it, Asians say it, Hispanics say it. I mean, hell, I was just with my friends last week. We were all just freaking joking, just saying, you know, whatever came to mind. Like, look, I have mixed feelings on this because, you know, I don't believe in canceling people, okay? I just don't believe in that. Like, I feel like America is the land of second chances. But the problem I do have is what Jared just pointed out, okay? When someone calls you out on your shit, you don't freaking double down and say, yeah, you're blocked or you're wrong. It's like, dude, like, you're a professional. You're supposed to be a freaking professional in the sport. You're trying to help grow the sport, okay? We already have the stigma about, you know, oh, the sport's full of races, and you just fueled it times 10. You not only said the word multiple times, but you keep doubling down on it. And it sucks too, because our panel was praising you for being in the sport, for bringing
I
new
sat
fans.
and talked with him in Daytona and was asking about different stuff.
I'm still happy. I'm still
feels like
happy for what he did with Matt DiBenedetto last year.
Yes,
It feels like the company itself and a lot of the personalities with that company have outgrown Dave Portnoy.
I mean,
Like that's what it feels like. I mean, I forgot what the dude's name is.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember. But there's like one of them who does a show. And this is weird for me as a Vikings fan, but I find this dude so entertaining. He does a show about the Bears every week.
I mean,
And
the
it's
thing
like
is,
it's stuff like that. It's like you can have sports where it's not like, you know, CNN for sports like ESPN is.
Yeah.
And you can have fun with it without it having to be something that, you know, is with something that's really structured more than something like this. But it feels like Dave Portnoy at this point is holding Barstool back further than
he is to an extent.
Should be. No, I think he is the number one reason.
Oh, number one.
When you look at every complaint with Barstool, it always goes back to Dave Portnoy. A lot of people working there, there's no problems with them, but it's Portnoy that's
look,
Twitter
man. Like
accounts with Barstool aren't even associated with him, and like for universities, and most of those don't have problems either.
Yeah, I've been following a lot of the Barstool Rocky Top people with the Tennessee Balls and all that. I love the stuff that they're doing, and I don't know what do you guys think? Are we looking at the beginnings of another John Schneider incident?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, I'm just sick of all of this whole, you know, this fake outrage over it too, because some people, I mean, keyword, some people have said that word multiple times, you know, during rap songs or just casually. And of course, the abbreviated version, including myself. So let's not act like, you know, we're some high, pure moralist, like, oh yeah, well, you shouldn't be saying that. Like, come on, guys, look, all right. If he makes the effort to try and change, you know, his image, then I think he does deserve a second chance. But right now, I mean, dude, you're making us look bad, man. You're making the fan base look bad to an extent, and also your brand too, because there's a lot of good people, I assume, that work at Barstool Sports, across the country. I mean, there's like hundreds or, if not thousands of, multiple branches, involving Barstool Sports, not only with sports, but with, college campuses as well. UNLV has their own one as well. I guess to end this off, guys, cancel culture to me is just so toxic. Please, let's give him a chance, to at least, try and explain himself, and also, just give him some time, give him a second chance to, to change. But if not, though, then
he's
I can
doubled
see.
down.
I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. If he keeps doubling down, then NASCAR is going to be put in a bit of a tough situation here. I'm just saying.
Here's the thing, like this isn't the first time he's done like gone off the deep end and people been like, "Whoa, dude, like calm down." This isn't the first time.
This is like the 10th time he's done something or whatever.
It was like the millionth time. Like toxicity follows this guy like wherever he goes, and if NASCAR is gonna like cut him off and be like, "All right, this is gonna hurt us more than it's gonna help us," like now's the time, and I'm sure they're having these discussions like as we speak. But yeah, I don't think, as old as he is, once you get past a certain age, like that's the die's been cast. You got the person you got. Yeah. And I don't. Some people don't learn. I would like to think that some people be like, man, I shouldn't have done that, and I got to fix things. But some people, like Jarrett said, they double down and they say, I didn't do anything wrong, and you can't change their mind. So,
but he did though, and he needs to realize that.
Well, think about this. We're having this conversation. I'd understand if we had this conversation like Kyle Larson, a 25-year-old, or like a teenager who said this at some point. We're talking about a 43-year-old man.
Yeah.
Right? 43.
Yeah. Let's put it like this. Yeah. This man was old enough to drink when I was born.
Jeez.
Before I was born, according to his birthday, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he was born in March.
Dang.
Yeah, March 22nd. Yeah, this dude predates Star Wars.
Okay, I didn't realize he was that old. I genuinely thought he was like 30. I don't know anything about
I'll give him credit. The dude looks good for his age, but his age. I mean,
especially with all the parent drinking parties they've been doing, like
he's a 43-year-old frat boy. That's what he is. He's a 43-year-old frat boy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and like that kind of lifestyle, that kind of like mindset. If you
at 43
that long,
there's something that you got to consider too. It's something that we all should notice by now. We're all public figures. We put our name out there. We're willing to put ourselves in front of an audience. Well, you got to understand, internet is open for anyone to find you and see what you're saying. We got kids. We got kids who watch us, guys. It's no secret. We go to the races. We've had numerous kids come up and tell us that they're fans of us. I've had parents talk to me and say, "Hey, we love what you do. We love that you keep it PG, where we can trust our kids can watch you." Well, you can't say that for everyone, and you got to be more aware of what you're saying and who's going to see that.
And here's the thing, I'm fine because he sends people, he sends like these memers and his people after different people. And I'll admit sometimes it's funny, but I'm cool with being sent. But here's the thing, I should not have to, because I criticize someone, have to worry about my notifications being blown up because I simply criticized him for acting less mature than I am and at double my age.
I guess the last thing I'll say on this topic is that, I mean, I'm not going to do something to someone that I wouldn't want done to myself. Sending people to attack, people who criticize you, that's wrong. Look, I get criticized. We all have been heavily criticized, especially on Twitter. Here's two options. You can either just A, block them, which I've done before, or B, maybe respond to them and maybe humor them and then mute them. I've done that all the time. I'm not just going to outright say, hey guys, this guy's bad. Attack. No, never. And honestly, with a guy as big a platform as he has built, it's just not right. It's not right to me, and I mean, I feel kind of bad because I was the ones, I was one of the people laughing when, like he basically went after, Jim Utter. And Jim Utter's a nice guy, you know what I mean? Like looking back now, I mean, he didn't deserve all of that mess. I mean, yeah, he criticized them and yeah, he was wrong to assume that whole Vegas fiasco was a Barstool Sports type deal. But did he deserve all of the hate he got? I don't think so. Okay, and
I think NASCAR just needs to distance themselves from
yeah.
it. It's gotten to that point. I understand before when it comes to some of the BS back and forth or getting into spats on Twitter with people. Everyone does that.
I think I'm gonna agree with our chat. They're all saying we need to move on to a new topic.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. The point is, So that's it. All right, let's move
on. Really quick, the All-Star race plans. The Open's gonna be 35, 35, 15. All-Star 55, 35, 35, 15. So
I'm looking forward to the Open mostly because we're going to see a lot of desperate moves, and desperate moves leads to wrecks, and wrecks lead to a lot of anger. So
last stage in the All-Star race, green flag laps only count.
Oh, now that is good. That is good.
Well, that's good because caution laps go by so fast at Bristol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's exciting. It feels like a shorter race because I'm math in my head. That's 140 laps for the main All-Star race. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like how long is the Charlotte All-Star race usually? Isn't it usually right around 100 laps?
Yes, like 80, 100.
Around there.
Yeah, I guess it's not that far off then. I just feel like for Bristol being such a short track, I felt like that was a bit of a short. The 15-lap sprint to the end is going to be fun. I like that, but I feel like the rest of it feels a little quick.
For those of us that are going, I feel like there'll be a few more crashes, especially in the All-Star race. So that'll kind of like extend things out. Like I'd say we're looking at a lot of good racing content to get to watch over here. So
a lot, yes, a lot. The first time in years, I am finally looking forward to the freaking All-Star race, man. Who would have thought? It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And hopefully, this week we'll probably start to see more of those paint schemes coming out.
No, yeah, hopefully so. We'll see. I can't wait to see the reaction on Twitter. That's gonna be fun.
I thought about this last week too on the subject of that. We used to have this big deal every year where everyone would always run a special paint scheme at the All-Star race. Well, now they're kind of all doing that. So.
Mm-hmm, yeah, inverted, the whole number placement, man. I mean, it's a special deal, and I can't wait to see them.
That's it for stories. We just got picks now for Indianapolis.
Damn, we were that quick. Oh, are we doing just NASCAR or IndyCar as well?
Let's just do NASCAR, honestly. I think.
Oh, and also really quick, F1 is back. My pick, they're in Austria. Max Verstappen, of course, because that's Red Bull's bread and butter track. But yeah, moving on.
Y'all can't see it here on here, but on the stream, I just put up a logo that says race picks when I did that. That wasn't just out of nowhere.
You did?
Yeah. Oh, I see. I have the stream up right now. I just have to. For the chat.
I see it. That's nice.
Really quick before we do go into picks, I do want to address a few super chats we got just over the last little bit. Much less than earlier. We had several people. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nathan, saying justice for 40 and hobos. I assume to NASCAR
Heat. They were being toxic in the chat.
People.
Man, move on.
All right. We are moving on from that. I'm not familiar. Beast of Metal, thank you for the super chat. Vote for Malika Sundaramurthy, lead vocalist for the death metal band Abnormality. Do those words mean anything to anyone? Beast of Metal coming in clutch with his brand, though. Keeping
I've heard of Abnormality.
Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Pretty
anyway.
Sure.
Bryce, thank you for the super chat as well. Pardon My Take is what it was called. I think that's when we're talking about Barstool. Is that one name of one of their podcasts, or is that I don't know. I don't know anything about Barstool. Anyway, I'm sorry, Bryce. We couldn't answer. Yeah. We don't know what. I'm sorry, but thank you for the super chat. And
thank you for the money, though.
Yeah, Bake the Snake. Giving us his prediction here at the very beginning, saying that he thinks Bubba Wallace is going to win at Indianapolis. And looks like your buddy Evan is in the chat saying, we love you, Slap Shoes, as well with the super chat. So thank you for that.
What's up, Evan?
I'll do. Yeah, I love Slap.
Awesome. So, yes, now we can get into picks. Thank you guys for all the support.
Oh, so who's going to suck at Indy? I love the who's going to suck picks, man. I love them. So I'll go first. Indianapolis. Who's going to suck at Indy? Let's see. We're going to talk about, recent guys sucking. Cole Custer. He has been just non-existent. Again, he is a rookie.
Stole my pick from me.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can pick Cole Custer too. But yeah, Cole Custer, man, I did expect a little bit more this season, considering the ride he was taking over. But he is a rookie. He does need to learn, and he's going to have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. So he's going to suck. Cole Custer.
I guess I'll go next really quick. I'm going to invert those numbers, say Clint Boyer, and Clint Boyer's going to suck this week.
Yeah.
He's just he's slowly been going down in performance, not only like this year, but just in general. And the more and more I see of him on track, the more and more I'm like, this dude's got to retire soon.
Come to the booth.
I think he's gonna. Yes, please. Fox
Please.
needs someone to shake it up. So
We
come
love
on
you.
over.
Come to the booth.
I'm just saying, get Clint Boyer there next year, and then get Bestwick whenever Joy's ready to go.
And then bring Kevin Harvick in a couple of years to replace Jeff Gordon, and we're golden.
Yeah, straight up.
I'm sorry, Jeff Gordon's not a good announcer.
Yeah, I mean he's okay.
He's kind of in line to take over Hendrick. So
Yeah,
Look at this.
Pick over Hendrick. What?
Look at this.
Look at what?
No, I'm being Jeff Gordon.
Oh. That's right.
I knew what you were doing there.
Damn. Yeah, that's right. All right, moving on.
But look at this. Chase Elliott and William Byron are the best drivers out there.
Okay.
Jeff, the 23rd and 24th. Best drivers.
Best drivers out there. They're my best drivers.
I love when they're like, Jeff, you're kind of biased. Hell yeah, I'm biased. It's like,
Oh no.
they're like,
Jeff,
Jeff,
talk
you weren't supposed to tell him that.
Jeff, talk about another driver for a minute. Okay, here comes Bowman and Johnson.
Anyone is not Hendrick 404 era.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna rip on Gordon.
Well,
that much anymore.
speaking of Hendrick, my pick for who's going to suck, I'll go with Alex Bowman. His speed that he had the first month or so of the season is not where it's at anymore, and so I just have a feeling he's going to run 18th this weekend.
I'm with Eric on this one. He did okay at one of the Pocono races, but these big, long flat tracks just ain't really for him.
We got Danny to pick Bowman for something again.
Finally.
First time for
The
everything.
meme is back.
Did we get Slap? You said yours was Custer as well.
Well,
right?
I picked Cole Custer, but I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. I think he's going to be leading, break everybody's hearts again.
we got.
He's gonna wreck it again.
I love how you're so specific with that.
We had a super chat from Bake the Snake that said he thinks the 48 will get a flat left rear, and spin and wreck into Kyle Busch.
All right, there you go.
Bake the Snake
More
agrees with you.
specific.
Yeah.
Somewhere
drivers
Malcolm
are gonna
Roots is screaming.
He is unsubscribed from S1apSh0es.
He is punching the air right now.
So,
All right, underdog picks. This is interesting. You know, Indy, it has a, it has a way of bringing out some underdogs. The last time
Tyler
we
Reddick.
raced here, yeah,
Tyler
Tyler
Reddick.
Reddick. The last time we raced here, though, Bubba Wallace finished third. And I think, I don't know if he'll necessarily get a top 5 or a top 10, but he'll be up front somehow, some way, whether it's, just straight up speed or strategy. So Bubba Wallace, that's my underdog pick.
I already said I'm going for Reddick. He might even have a chance. He might even have a chance to win, but he's definitely an underdog.
I mean, Mark Martin said, "Yeah, I love watching Reddick rip the outside man. And Reddick's the man, dude."
oh, I'm next. That's right.
Yeah.
This guy is, ran pretty well at Indy the last time that I can remember, and he hasn't run too well this season so far, but he's extremely talented either way. I'm getting some brownie points there. Here I go, Matt Kenseth. I think Matt Kenseth is a good underdog pick this week.
I'm glad you picked Matt Kenseth because I didn't want to have to pick Matt Kenseth this week because I actually want to pick Bubba Wallace. I mean, he finished top 5 here last year, and their cars are better this year than they were last year. So he's easily the top underdog pick, a true underdog story to watch. But I do like the idea of Matt Kenseth. I think it was Fox or someone on Twitter put out a graphic. Only 4 drivers have ever won, the modern 4 crown jewel races: Daytona 500, Coke 600, Southern 500, Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt. Matt Kenseth, if he wins this weekend, would be the 5th on that list, and he has finished 2nd at Indianapolis, I believe, 3 times in his career. And just 2 years ago, when he drove that crappy little 6 car, he won stage 2 at Indianapolis. So keep an eye on Matt Kenseth. I don't have great faith in that team, but I'm glad somebody else pointed out. My pick is actually Bubba Wallace, though. So yeah.
I'm going to go with Matt DiBenedetto. I think the Wood brothers, they ran fairly decent at Pocono. I think this is going to be right in their wheelhouse.
Okay, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Not win, win. So who's gonna win on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast for Indianapolis? I will go with the 9 of Chase Elliott. Let me tell you something, man. NASCAR still considers, the Brickyard 400 to be one of the most monumental races on the calendar. I mean, that's them. To me, Indy's but I don't know. For some reason, though, Chase Elliott, he does have a bit of a history of, rising to the occasion at, some of these races. At first, the whole narrative was, man, he's never going to win. And then it's like, well, Chase Elliott is now going to be winning for a very long time. I feel like Hendrick, they had an amazing start. They've slipped back a bit. But you know what? They have an amazing history here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I think Chase Elliott is going to be prime. He's going to be in position to win his first Brickyard. So we'll see.
You know what? We gushed and ranted and raved and how much this guy deserves to be where he's at. How much this guy, he's got sponsorship ready. He did really well. Led a ton. Probably should have won at least one of the Pocono races this past week. And I won't Eric Almirola. I haven't given him enough love. But he's really turned it on, and he's, I'd say he's one of the top 10 drivers out there so far. I don't know where exactly he is in points at this moment, but I would assume that he's high up on the list at this point.
He's at least where he's always getting, one of those top 12 starting positions. So.
Yeah. I think that Eric Almirola is going to break through, and he's going to get the win, and it's going to be a huge statement for him.
In the words of the famous IDK player, the Cuban is gonna win. That's
what
he's
saying. He's ninth in points.
He's ninth. See, he's
having I assume he's probably closer. He's probably close to Kyle Busch. I don't know. I know on that Winston Cup one he's ahead of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I think he's ahead of Kyle Busch in the playoff standings right now. Yeah, he is.
I really like that pick, Jared, and I would love to agree with you on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does win it, but it's not who I'm going with because I think going off of what Eric said, if Matt Kenseth was to win this one, well, then he would be in that elite status. But I had something I'm going with. If when this guy wins this weekend, all he's going to need to do is win a Daytona 500 one day because I'm saying that Martin Truex Jr. is going to be winning the Brickyard 400 this weekend.
It's going to be a boring one then because every race he wins is boring.
Yeah, all the time. He never wins anything.
That man does not have side-by-side finishes in his lexicon.
Never.
I'm thinking back. I remember 2017. 2017, it was a really tight one between him and Kyle Busch, and they both took each other out. And then we had a fiasco, and somehow Casey Kane survived. But this is the one though where I think Martin Truex Jr. can get it done.
I like it. I really like your Eric Almirola pick earlier, but I'm going to go with someone maybe similar, a little bit of a similar narrative around him. I think this is the week that Matt DiBenedetto finally gets his first career win in the NASCAR Cup Series. That Wood Brothers car finished, I believe, top 10 last year in this race with Paul Menard. I will give Matt DiBenedetto, skill alone, a few positions higher than that. I think he'll be in a position to have a shot at the win. Indianapolis, we've seen, speaking of Paul Menard, we've seen drivers kind of come out of nowhere and surprise people with wins in this track at this race. So, I'll give Matt DiBenedetto the edge.
Does he have Menards in his car? Because I'm sure that John Menard would love to go back to Victory Lane in Indianapolis.
That'd be awesome if he does.
I think he should have it. I mean, they always run their scheme at Indy all the time.
They're doing a red Menard scheme.
Oh, there we go.
It's going to happen.
Perfect.
Full red paint scheme. I remember I was scrolling down because I do use NASCAR Reddit for my news, and I was scrolling through there, and I was like, that's intriguing.
Yeah. Is it like that Wrangler red one, or is it a different thing?
It looks like the same shade. I don't know if it is or not, but I think there's Menards on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Who's your pick,
So I got last pick. I'm going to go with the guy who's been coming out of nowhere, pulling wins out of his rear end all year, Brad Keselowski.
Yep. I mean, he's won this race before too, hasn't he? He won in 2018, I believe.
2018, I think so.
If he wins this one, though, it means that Chase Elliott's going to have a great shot at winning it.
Yeah, probably, and then he'll blow it, and then he'll just come out of nowhere.
You blew it.
You blew it again. So. But that can't happen twice. Could it? I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
Never say that when it comes to Chase Elliott.
Yeah, never say never.
Lightning will always strike twice with him, for better or for worse.
Awesome.
Man.
That's going to do it for picks. We're only about almost 20 minutes past our normal time, but I appreciate everyone watching at home. We still have over 600 people watching at home. I appreciate you guys sticking with us. I appreciate our panel and, of course, our special guest, S1apSh0es. Thank you for bearing with us. Hope it was fun tonight. We appreciate you coming on.
We're actually about right on time because we had about a 10-minute delay to start and a 10-minute intermission right in the middle. So
that's true. We fulfilled our 2-hour quota.
We're just good at this.
Yeah, we're just beasts at this, bro. For
3 years of doing this, we actually figured it out.
Yeah, right. Nah, GG, man. Nice.
And actually, I do want to just address the last few super chats before we get going.
Right.
Bryce again sends a super chat. Listen, Bubba's gonna win. I got a good feeling. Finished third last year. Gonna win Sunday. Gotta believe. Yeah, we had Bubba
That'd be cool.
as a couple of our underdog picks for sure. Arian Gomez, thank you. I can see that Gordon went to the Danny Sullivan School of Racing analyst. Danny Sullivan was the original look at this racing analyst. I like that. Steve sent a super chat. Thank you. I have Briscoe winning Xfinity, Rossi in Indy, and Blaney in Cup. Bubba for underdog, and Hamlin to suck. Great episode, y'all. P.S. Eric, you need mods. Yeah, we might need to do that at some point.
Oh yeah.
I got a few people I can say.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Will they kiss the bricks during this pandemic? That is a very good question.
Maybe the driver only, probably, I'd assume.
Maybe, yeah.
And kiss with your mask on.
No, they'll have them kiss it. No, they'll have them kiss it through a freaking bubble, probably.
No French kissing the bricks this year.
Yeah, no French kissing.
Unfortunately, no. And lastly, Troy, thank you for the super chat. I can't believe no one wants to pick JJ Yaley. Well, that's.
Oh well.
Well, maybe we can go back.
Really quick tidbit. I should have put that in lightning round. Anyone see that Craftsman's now sponsoring Haley Deegan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a good deal. Good deal. They jumped on board.
I missed that one.
No,
I saw that today, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Very interesting. So she's attracting more sponsors other than Monster. So there might be a future for more deals. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. And even though they've only got to do a handful of races, she's ran solid in every single one of them. So.
Yeah.
Like Josh Lambert said, don't lick the brick, lick the like button. And
yeah.
Darian, where you at right now on the subs? Are we getting to the 30 yet?
Oh no! I'm like more than 50 plus away. We're not getting it tonight, but
I think everyone here watching is probably already subscribed. So unfortunately,
yeah, probably
we're preaching to the choir here, unfortunately. But in case you aren't subscribed, to anyone on this panel, all their links to their channels are down in the description. So be sure to check that out.
Hey, I'll just say it. I'm only 13,400. I'm way below everyone else here. So come on over, check me out too.
Yeah, see, y'all can do that. That's doable. Help him out.
Without a doubt. Is there anything else you'd like to shout out, SlapShoes? We got your YouTube channel in the description, but is there any other places that people can find you?
Instagram, Twitter. Always reposting stuff that all the historical Twitter accounts repost. So if you want to see some really cool old school photos, I'm always retweeting their stuff, and you can see some kick-ass stuff over there.
Awesome.
Yeah, you also post some funny stuff too with the beavers and stuff. I saw that.
Yeah.
But real quick before you go, I just gotta say, I know you got a busy few days coming up here. You can't go with us to the race, so I know what you do for a job, and it can be dangerous out there. So just make sure you're aware of your surroundings out there.
Yes, be aware of your surroundings.
At all times, I'm professional and aware of my surroundings.
And of course, guys, let me remind you: put on a mask. It'll help.
Are you selling those anywhere?
But no, they're just for me. But I'm selling shirts though, so go buy them.
Same here. We all got merch to plug.
And you can get an official NASCAR Weekly Podcast shirt from me.
Yeah, you see.
I'm wearing my merch. Look at me.
Oh, I don't have mine yet. It hasn't shipped yet. So
I wear mine to the track because, yeah. Really quick, we got our guests. We got guests next week. So Darian, we're on your channel, July 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. Josh Williams is going to be on the first hour.
Let's go, Josh Williams.
And then we're planning also on having Tommy Joe Martins on. He's one of the best guests we've ever had.
Tommy Joe Martins, awesome. Bro, he's like one of the greatest underdog drivers in Xfinity Series history.
He explains it.
Yeah, exactly. He's had the worst luck this year, but I'm telling you, he will eventually turn it around. Just be patient. But I mean, he'll talk about it on the show next week.
Yeah, I like it. Dietech Cup Series says in the chat, Xfinity Series special.
Yeah, exactly. Really, and 2 Xfinity Series underdogs too. That's even better. I love underdogs.
They can tell us all about how the doubleheader was.
Mm-hmm.
We were actually planning to go to that.
Speaking of Xfinity Series underdogs, I got a good feeling this is the week where Ryan Seek can finally pull it off.
Yep, man, we'll see. We'll see what happens. They've kind of slipped back a bit, but maybe they might be on the rise. We'll see.
Going to be fun to watch. Yeah, well, a lot of racing this weekend, lots of different types of racing, different types of tracks. So going to be a lot to to watch out for. But yeah, I want to thank everyone once again for tuning in tonight. Great to have Mark Martin, a NASCAR Hall of Famer, sharing so many great stories with us for the first hour. Darian, of course, has the mask back on, going out the way we began the show, of course. And thank you again to Slap for coming on this episode. Go subscribe to him. We'll be back next week, Darian's channel, same time, different place. It'll be Darian's channel. But have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there. Thank you for tuning in, and take it easy for sure.
Bye-bye.